Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the What the Football channel. This is the B8 and Scrubber Show, and we come to you today after another big loss for the Commanders. We could have cinched it up. Everybody who played that day did their job. We were the only team that did not get the job done. That was a crucial game, very painful. We watched it. Well, B8's got to watch it. I got to call it from the Yahoo graphic. I think I'm better off than BH because I didn't have to look at it. And yeah, BH, how you doing, bud?
Well, doing a little better now. Had a few days to digest, but like you said, I got to watch it, and it wasn't bad for a while there. But even as we kept up, you saw the same problems happening. It wasn't surprising that the thing came unwound and fell apart because just the same kind of play calling, the same kind of mistakes, and then then we made some real big mistakes. So yeah, it was kind of sad, and it really did kind of unravel when you think about it. Offensive line struggled, Heineke struggled, defense did okay early, but then they just couldn't keep up. Those 3 and outs start to get to the defense after a while. They got to keep going back out. And also I think psychologically with this defense, the problem is too, if you know the offense can't get anything going, it's kind of defeating because your job is supposed to be holding the other team back in a close game to get the win. You can't just go out there and score points as a defense. You can't take the game over in that regard. Right. So it kind of sucks for our defense. If we know, oh man, our offense, they're getting crushed. They're not going to put up any points. It's sort of the whole scheme and the way we do things. It could be kind of self-defeating to know that you're out there it's not going to do you any good. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was the struggles were sort of there again. We pinpointed 3 guys, and unfortunately, all 3 of them failed pretty epically. And that was Scott Turner. Yep. Same, some really bad stuff this time, but we were hot last week, and boy, we could talk for hours about the play calling that we saw, getting away from the run, a lot of weird stuff, and then of course we talked about Taylor Heineke, and he struggled. Now there's an asterisk with that because we know that Taylor's a limited talent guy. He's got a lot of gusto. He's got a lot of guts, and he works very hard, but he just doesn't have that supreme talent level. And then you put him in, and we just said, you put him in an offense where the offensive coordinator doesn't seem to be helping anybody. Right. And that's kind of sad for him because we're sort of blaming him for his performance, but at the same time, he doesn't seem to be given the conditions he needs to be successful.
Working to his strengths.
Yeah, playing to the strengths. And so that was bad. And then once again, we took some issue with coach, labeling him. He's the CEO of the company. We like we always say, if there's problems in a company, go to upper level management. That's where all the crap starts. It just filters down. Yeah. And so coach there were some questionable decisions. I think, it was like last time when I think it was the Giants game where we didn't kick the field goal at the very beginning. Remember at the beginning of the game, we just decided to punt against the Giants. And it was sort of a head scratcher, it wasn't like a hurricane out there. There's no big deal. Yeah. So we thought that was, and so we played really, I don't know if we should do this. And then in this game on our 40, we go for it on 4th.
Yeah.
That was when I saw the play call, I was like, oh, I don't know, dude. I'm for being positive and thinking we can ram stuff down people's throats. But that takes a lot. But see, that's what I get. But on one, you're being real chicken and with not a lot to lose. Because remember, even then, the guy from the Giants returned a punt. And I think we lost a net 7 yards,
Exactly.
Right?
Why not
pointed that? I didn't even think about it till you pointed it out, And regardless, even if the guy fair caught it at the 10, or if we kicked and missed, so what, to get it at the 38, that's not the worst thing in the world. And so that was just weird to play real chicken and then to go all crazy balls out whoa, hey man, we're going for it on 4th and 1. And then the worst thing, look, this team, the 49ers, statistically, they stuffed the run. And if you just look at the players on that D line, they're all, Buckner, Bosa. I mean, they're big names, they're big guys. The stats bear it out. They just stuff people all day long. And you do a quarterback sneak with a little 6'1". I mean, Heineke's not a big guy. He's not Carson Wentz, Steven. I'm not saying he may be a tougher guy and it may be a stronger guy, but at the end of the day, he's not 6'4", 235, and he got eaten alive. I mean, it was almost like everyone in the world could see that happening. As much as I wanted them to be successful, I didn't like it. I didn't like the call, and so once again, it's like, man, who's minding the ship? I mean, I'm sure you had issues with some other calls and other things too.
That was the one, the field goal at the beginning of the game. It was 4th and goal from the 1, and I think what they do, the quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
I kept saying kick the field goal. And the reason is because our defense is supposed to keep the other team limited to points. So then your field goals do work.
Yes.
You don't need the 7 points every time if your defense is going to hold them. And so you take the 3. Take it, and then they went for it on 4th and 1, and what that does is it cripples you right at the beginning of the game. Boom! Now you just turn the ball over, and you didn't get any points. And so, I don't know, just little things like that. Not utilizing the run game like they should be, like you said, not using the receivers like they should be, not letting Taylor Heinicke roll out, do what he's supposed to do, use his legs. They only give him very, very few plays of doing that kind of stuff. And so, I don't know, using the empty the empty backfield and stuff like that. It's just crazy. It's mind-boggling. It doesn't make sense. Maybe somewhere to them it does make sense. They're supposed to scout the opposing team and come up with a scheme to play, and that's what you come up with. It just, I don't know. It's almost like you're sabotaging your team or something, or you're just plain ignorant. I don't know. And you had many, many years of this with the dad. So
yeah,
it's like a fucking nightmare for you.
Yeah, he would do it. He would Norv would do that with I remember with Phillip Rivers, man, and against teams with some pretty good pass rush, and there were no slants and no 3-step drops. This is a 6 foot. He was almost 6'5". Phillip was a big guy. That guy could throw slants all day. Taylor Heinicke can't throw slants. Russell Wilson can't throw slants. They don't. The only short guy that could ever throw slants and do plays like that was Drew Brees. But Drew Brees is once in a lifetime quarterback who knew his passing lanes. He just knew that guy was a genius. Drew had an eye for that. But most short guys can't. And I would just drive me crazy, man. Poor Phillip Rivers getting beat to death. And they send him back on 5 and 7-step drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lock, and then you just get blown up. And I'm going, God, Norv, give him a slant. Throw. And I mean, even online, just like you and I talking, going into the forums, everyone be going, do we ever call slant plays anymore? And then he also does another thing. He would do a thing, and then remember Scott handing off to Curtis Samuel 5 times, right? Norv got locked into this thing. It works. At times it works, and you have to play it right. It's that play where the quarterback throws to the far right receiver or far left receiver. I mean, way out there. And it's when the other team's playing off, and you can catch teams. The safety moves over. It's a good play if you throw it out there, and then the guy's just got one guy to beat. Hell, you get like 27 yards with that play. And Norv would try that play. It wouldn't work. And it did. He would just keep throwing it. Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of that Curtis Samuel. Like they get brain locked. I'm like, dude, how many times? You'll call that play 5 times, but you won't call a slant. It just, maybe there's a philosophy about that I don't understand, but it's really frustrating. And then we were talking earlier too, watching some films and some videos out there, some good stuff on YouTube. And, the guys pointing out, hey man, why are these empty sets on these important 3rd and 9, 3rd and 14, where, you got to get a first, dog. This is it. This is, 3rd and 4th quarter of a really important game. And when you're still in it, and they just left him just 5 linemen blocking 5 D linemen. And that's just tough. And no running back to help, no tight end. And a good point was made. And I thought this was a pretty good point. And we talked about it earlier, was that we've got 3 pretty darn good receivers. I mean, really, Dotson, Terry, and Curtis Samuel are good. We've seen them play. They're really good at getting open. They're good on short. They love coming across and cutting, and they love going deep. Why not have those? If you can have a running back in the backfield to help block, and you can bring a tight end in and move the tight end depending on which way the D is loading up the line, because you can do that, right? You just send the tight end in motion, say, hey, get over there to the right, help the right tackle if they're stuck, if they're stacking up in the line. So you get a little extra protection, and you got three really good right receivers. If you do that, and those three guys just consistently can't get open, well, then you can review that problem. What is the problem? You got three good receivers. Is it the quarterback? Is it the play calling? Are the receivers not doing their job? Are they not running the right routes? I just don't know why you have to have five receivers out there, because it doesn't work. Because you would think Taylor could pick up a guy right away and throw it, but he seems to sit there, and it seems like he's looking at all five guys going, shit. He's waiting for the play to develop because someone's got to get open. But unfortunately, by then, pocket collapses.
I'm sorry, but it goes back to somebody who's 6 foot tall. I'm not a short hater, but those guys are standing in front of them are 6'6",
yep,
7. You know what I mean? And you're gonna try and pick something out through what? Through helmet,
yep.
and what do you? And then you gotta rainbow it a little bit. That shit just doesn't work. That's why you need the RPO. That's why you need to roll out and throw. While he's rolling out to the right, the other guy is coming to the right. Both of them hit him on the run. I mean, that just seems so basic and just common sense to me. Even if they're covering it, who gives a shit? Put a tight end out there too. Something, give two people. Put somebody out on the back and someone a little farther.
They do that, and they do that a lot on rollouts. In other words, you run the tight end on a shallow route and run Terry a little bit deeper. One 5 yards out, one 14 yards out, makes the safety commit. Who am I going to commit to here? And just make them play against each other. And the thing is, Taylor looks good on a rollout. He's a decent rolling out quarterback. He's not lights out, but some guys rolling out and throwing, they don't look that great. You never want to see Phillip Rivers roll out and throw. But Taylor,
how many times
RPO.
Have we seen him roll out? How many times have we seen him roll out in the last 3 games? 7 times?
Maybe. I mean, there was 3. Yeah, there might have been 3 in the last game. Was the most ever. And then there's games it feels like the only time he goes is when the pocket busts and he's running for his life. I mean, I feel like we've gone 4 to 6 games with hardly anything.
No design runs for him.
Nah, it feels that way. I mean, and the design one, the very first one, man, you knew it was designed, and he just ran went right out of bounds. Like I always said, let him roll out, design the play going this way. Everyone will go this way. Let him roll out. He runs out of bounds, and they did it. That was the very first one. Got a first down, and I thought to myself, wow, how hard was that? Jeez. Yeah, and then I don't get it. I don't understand. And you made a real good point about not going for that field goal. Because, if you're a team that scores, you got this great offense, scores 40 points a game, but your D is kind of, you got to always score a lot of points. Well, yeah, then, I mean, you might want to just go for it, because you score a lot of points and your D is suspect. But we're the opposite. And by making that decision, you're right. They kind of went against our whole philosophy, right? Keep it low scoring, let the D take care of it.
Right.
They went for it. Yeah, so that goes against it. The crazy 4th and 1 on our territory. That just it doesn't seem like that's who we are. And I don't mind taking a chance every now and then and stuff, but unfortunately those chances seem very desperate. I don't think the team felt very confident on those calls. I wonder if in their heads they were going for it.
Kick.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I refused to watch it. But why would you call an onside kick with 5 minutes left? You kick it off and you hope your defense stops them. And when you absolutely have to do the onside kick, then you do the onside kick.
Yep. It was because like you said, it was just 2 scores. It was only 10 points and 5 minutes. If there was 2.5 minutes, maybe you think shit. We can't. Yeah, they'll just run the clock out on us. And then the kick was hilarious because they did. Joey looked like he was going to kick left. He comes up, he circles, and then he kicks it, and he puts the spin. And it was hilarious. It starts heading right. It's going down the field right, but it's got so much spin. It was like a duck hook off the tee. Then it starts going left, and then it started coming backwards. Jones.
No.
Yes, it came that's why I said it was the worst onside kick I've ever seen in my entire life, dude. I mean, God Almighty, I've been watching NFL football for almost 55 years now. Yeah, it went backward, and then our poor guys went up and downed it, which
Ah,
is dumb. But I mean, they're just out of frustration. I think then they got called for illegal touching because it hadn't gone 10 yards. But it was like a live grenade. Someone had to fall on it.
but you can't, if you're going to do an onside kick, you can't be on the sideline practicing an onside kick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't. And how often does he get to practice it? Joey Sly's got a big fat leg. He doesn't do onside kicks.
No. And especially that, yeah, and like you said, those big fat legs, and he tried doing this. I'm going to kick it to the right, kind of comes up, turns, and then does this twisty move. Like, I'm going to fool him. And all he did was glance aside, spun that thing like a top. And I was just looking, going, well, this is the nail in the coffin.
Got to be some kind of standard way to top it so that it comes off, hits 5 feet, bounces up over, does some kind of thing. There's got to be somebody who's figured that out. There's like one good way to do that. I'm sure there's a couple ways. I think Atlanta did it a few years ago, like twice in one game or something crazy.
Yeah. But you're right, though.
But the
you got to do that one.
Doing it was wrong. Why, with 5 minutes left, you had all 3 of your timeouts left, and now you gave them the ball right up front. Now you got to start burning your fucking timeouts to just because all they're doing is handing off and running for 3 yards. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, and you
timeouts, and they got you.
Yep. Yeah, it was really, and then see, that's why I was saying the top 3, Taylor Heineke, Coach Turner, and Ron, where I put them on the hot seat last week, saying, you 3 have to have a much better game, and quite frankly, they couldn't have been any worse. And that was one of the reasons why Ron I had to ding him because of some of these questionable CEO calls. He's a CEO. Who made that? Who said we're going to go for it on 4th on our side of the field? That was Ron. It wasn't anybody else. That was him. He makes that. Those are the kind of decisions head coach makes. So anyway,
on them towards the end of that game, I was just totally perplexed with what's going on, and I'm willing to let it go now. But I mean, that is just horrifying. So we've got a game coming up too. Unless you want to cover San Fran a little more. So we've got the Browns coming up too. So.
Yep. Well, that's a good thing. And then here's the big change is Taylor's out, Wentz is in. Yep. So we talked a little bit about that last week. I don't know what you think.
Oh, I don't mind it. And here's another weird thing about the play calling. Towards the end of the game last week, they were calling ways for Taylor, calling all these games. But then when Wentz steps in, totally different play calling. Throwing it to the tight ends. Throwing these over the middles, it seemed like the play calling just totally changed. Why? It didn't make sense to me. But one of the things I think you talked about earlier in the season was Wentz was playing under a different scenario than he would be playing now.
Yeah.
So now supposedly he would be in a better position now to play. We didn't have all our tight ends back then. We had I think maybe Dotson was hurt for a little while, or things weren't quite what. I don't think we had.
Jahan was there, but the tight ends were a mess, and we were playing with rookies. I mean, Armani Rogers, who I hope he comes back, he was like Carson's best guy. This is a guy that played quarterback in college, so that's what he was dealing with. Jahan was there because Jahan was his favorite guy, but Brian Robinson wasn't there for the first 4 games, and he played 2 games with Carson, but like we discussed, that was before the Brian Robinson Express really got going, and we were really killing it in this run game. So he didn't have the benefit of a killer running game. Tight ends were messed up, and I think we talked about learning. He's a pro, and he's been around. There's nothing in the playbook that's mystery to him, but you still got to learn all the terminology. You got to learn all the what do you call it? The line calls and audibles. There's a lot of crap to learn. And whereas Taylor, he knows all that stuff. It's all in his head. He had a whole year of it. So so anyway. So I think we could hopefully and should see a better Carson Wentz because it's different now.
Yeah, and playing against the Browns. So we should be able to handle them. And it doesn't look like Massage Watson is doing anything, and he's really not
No,
effective for that team. He's a bust. So that
yeah,
also got
he doesn't look that great.
who's their running back Fant. So he's about
They
to
got Nick Chubb.
good
Nick
job.
Chubb is there. Yeah, Nick Chubb, but and he's really good, but he's really faded down the stretch a bit. I think he's getting a little tired. They use him quite a lot. Now, here's the big thing: they have nothing to play for, and there's a lot of rumors out there. You'll see Chubb on a pitch count, and Myles Garrett, their great defensive end, perhaps on a bit of a pitch count because they're toast. They're two really good players, and they're their best players. I mean, they might just limit them. I'm not saying they're going to make them inactive, but you might see there's no reason really to put those guys out there a lot, and they might just not. And even with them playing, they're not that good. And another big thing is they are terrible against the run. They really do a bad job. You can run on them, and we can run. So we should have no problem with the clock. We should be able to control it. There's really no one on. Yeah, I know. There's no one on offense that's scary. The quarterback Watson's not scary. Like Chubb is really wound down. I think he's tired. He's had a ton of carries. He's a great running back. Don't get me wrong. And the wide receivers, Donovan Peoples-Jones. They've got the guy they got from the Cowboys last year in a trade. I forget his name. But anyway, there's no one that you feel like is going to kill. Tyreek Hills or anything out there. Josh Allen type quarterback situation. I really think it plays into our strengths. Be able to control the clock. Our defense should be able to hammer them. Good Lord, man, everything's on the line. If you can't come out there now and beat the Browns, and you really don't deserve to go to the playoffs at all. So I think we count that I think it's a win. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a homer. I'm a big homer, that's for sure. But it just really, there's no reason why they can't beat those guys. So now the next big question then is I've looked at the other games now, just between me and you, I think the Vikings are playing Green Bay, which unfortunately we let Green Bay get back into it.
Yep.
Right. Green Bay's in the mix a little bit. So, we got to hope that they can take care of them. Cowboys are playing the Titans. The Titans are a disaster. They forget it. They can't put up a fight. Colts, the Giants are hosting the Colts. In all honesty, let's hope and pray, right? But I don't see the Colts beating the Giants. What else we got here? Bears and Lions. Bears and Lions?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't see it. Well, this is why we got to.
Right? Divisional. Staying the same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're a long time, right? Maybe between Green Bay, Bears, and Lions, like we're talking 90-year rivalries. I mean, they go back forever.
So, in my opinion, always in divisional games, it doesn't matter if the one team is 13-0 and the other team is 1-12, whatever. Anything can happen. So.
I agree. When you're the Bears and you see those Lions uniforms, you see red. So here is one interesting thing why this win is so important, because next week the Lions play the Packers. So if we get this win, one of those guys is eliminated. So we're not having to fight both of them for the last spot. So one will eliminate the other. And Jets at Seahawks. Now this one's got some potential.
Yeah, Jets could pull it if they would just right the ship for just a second.
Yeah, they went ahead and batched. Well, yeah, what's his name? Mike White's coming back, and the team seems to really like him. And their defense is really good. So I think they have the biggest chance to help us. Vikings at Packers. The Vikings score a lot of points. This one, you want if you're in the fantasy football, you want all your players on these two teams, man, because the Vikings do score a lot of points, but their defense is suspect. I don't know. I mean, I have to give the nod to the Packers, but let's just see what happens. I would certainly hope the Vikings beat the Pack, because that would take them out. That would take them out of it. Yeah, it's at Lambeau. That's the problem. But you know what? Weather all across the country this week is mild.
Cool.
So there's none of that frozen tundra crap. So it should be a good game in Lambeau. And if they can beat them, see, we got the tiebreaker on them at least because we beat them. So that would almost eliminate them right then and there if we beat the Browns, obviously.
And the tiebreaker helps us in certain situations too.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. And that's a big one. What's that?
It's not a loss. It's a hack.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. As silly as it sounds, I was looking at that. It does get us through. And then, going on the next week, we play the Cowboys.
Oh.
That's one. And then we said Lions and Packers. They'll, we don't know who we're rooting for, but one of them gets eliminated. We won't be fighting both of them. And Giants Giants and Eagles, Commanders, and at playing the Cowboys are both weird games at the end of the season because the Eagles and the Cowboys, depending on how things go, could just rest guys like crazy. You never know. There's some teams have different philosophies than other teams, but who knows, that could help us too. So it's all in our hands. As bad as things have been, and it's pretty dark. I mean, after the San Francisco game, I got to admit that you were even saying, man, should this team even go to the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to the playoffs with this, you're going to get killed.
Yeah. Yeah. January football is different than November football.
Right. And I'm not one of these guys, let's lose games so we can get instead of the 18th pick, we'll get the 13th pick. But for me, if you're playing garbage football, I say don't go to the playoffs and get us a better pick. That's my thing is I don't want a team wallowing in there, just looking like dog poop, hoping they're going to find magic at the last minute. Teams find magic in the NFL in the last 3 or 4 games of the year. You see certain teams all of a sudden, oh man, they're finally getting it. They put a lot of pieces together and they go into playoffs. But no one just the first week of the playoffs, it just clicks. Oh, okay. Now we're going to play really, really good. That never happens, dude. And we're not going in like we're any good. So
last couple games we've been showing that, and it's just not materializing. It's just not showing itself. We're just not, a tie to the Giants, and then a bye week, and then a loss, and then another loss. It just doesn't look like a team that wants to go into the playoffs, and then especially to claw from the bottom of the wild card. Jesus, the only saving thing there would be like, if we did squeak in at 7 and then got to play the Vikings at 2, that would be like a revenge game. You could almost start to see a kind of a snowball where, we start to see we can move up. And then, however, let's say some other thing works out where then again we have to play San Francisco in the next level. Okay, we owe one. You could almost see, like you were saying, but the snowball starts next week.
Yeah, right. Like I was saying, yeah, you want the announcers, in the playoffs going, we remember against Cleveland, the Commanders, that team was a different team. And then they went and they played the Cowboys and they whooped. And, then you can start to see, hey, this team got it with a couple games left in the season. But, yeah, well, we'll take it one game at a time. Yeah. Got to beat the Browns. Hey, at home against a team that's just a team that, man, they're packed up. They're already making their family plans for Hawaii, ordered new sets of golf clubs. Their head's not in the game. They're ready for a break. So, yeah, good weather. Should be nice weather. Yeah.
Hope for the best. And we won't get a lot of their fans there. So hopefully our own fans will fill the stadium, because a lot of times we play like New York and some of these other teams, man, there are other teams fill our stadium. So
yeah, exactly. It's true. So, well, we got anything else? Well, I mean, I guess the biggest thing for me is the Carson Wentz. Let's see if the play, you said like the play calling looked different.
Yeah.
Maybe Wentz looks for tight ends more. Tight ends do tend to play on the middle of the field more, and we know Taylor at 6'1", limited. What's Carson? 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Oh yeah. So right away he's hitting tight ends. Yeah. What's that?
And slants.
Yeah, and some slants. And right away, like you said in that game, all of a sudden he was throwing the tight ends. It's like the tight ends have just been disappeared from this offense.
They marched down for a touchdown, right?
What's that?
and march down and score a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can do more in slants, and we can really protect Carson in this game because we can really go with the run. He doesn't have to come out slinging. We're not playing the Chiefs or anybody, and he may have to sling it a little bit against the Cowboys depending on the situation because they do like to score and they're good. But for this game, he can just sort of come out and get into his groove. He can throw his throws, but he doesn't have to come out winning the game for us. And he should really see. I mean, he will benefit from that running game. Healthy wide receivers. Our tight ends are much healthier. The defense, it's a good defense. We've had a few injuries here and there, but and even now the injuries just still don't look that bad. We're not getting decimated.
So totally played phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was our highest ranked PFF guy, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Highest rated. And even Cam didn't play. So if we get Cam back, boom.
Yeah.
We'll really be playing.
Was out there. St. Jude stayed in for the whole game, right?
Yeah, he went out with the ankle, which worried me because I never got a report if it was the same ankle. But then he came back. He was back in. So yeah. So anyway, I was glad to see that. So, but if we get Cam back with St. Juice back, that would help a ton.
I'm starting to get a better feeling already.
I know. See, just get the show in and start feeling better. And then Joey Slice start working on those onside kicks, brother. Yeah.
No, let's hope he doesn't need the fucking onside kick anymore. Lord, let's hope he never has to kick another onside kick again in his life.
I know Joey feels that way.
Yeah.
All right, man. He doesn't want to do it. Oh my goodness. Well, look, I don't know if I'm not gonna be around much Sunday morning. I'm got my great granddaughter out here. We're running her around and taking her. Also got to get her to the airport for a trip back home. So I'll be a little sporadic, but I might be around in the fourth quarter. So I'll jump in. I'll jump in on the chat. And are you going to do the game?
Yeah, definitely going to do the game. We'll follow the Yahoo graphic as always. If I can't get it on the TV or on my NFL app. So
yeah, it'll be impossible to get that game on the TV, I bet. So, well, if they make the playoffs, we'll get all the games on TV, which would be nice. All right, bro. Let's just hope for the best. One game at a time. Let's see if having Carson can really spark this offense a little bit, and this team can get some cohesion.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be. So, all right, dog. Thanks, everybody. Look for us on Sunday. Stick with us. We could go to the playoffs. Postseason, here we go.
We could actually go. All right, man. All right, good show, man.
Thanks, boss.